Unlike Gavin, I am in the pursuit of truth. So I've taken it upon myself to interview boots on the ground. I have interviewed members of the Los Angeles Fire Department, and the truths I have found are harrowing. Why is Gavin so adamant about pushing this narrative that they did not run out of water in the Pacific Palisades? Well, it's because they did. A firefighter told me that he was on a street in the Pacific Palisades, and not only did he run out of water, but they had insufficient hydrants. So he explained to me that the standard distance between residential homes is usually less than 1,000 feet. And in this case, these homes were very large. We're talking like 15,000 square foot mansions and hydrants that were over 1,000 feet apart. In addition to that, running out of water and these hydrants being too far apart, these hydrants only had a 2.5-inch wharf hydrant instead of 4 inches, which means the diameter of the hose. This means that these firefighters did not have sufficient fire flow to extinguish these fires. He told me that they were doing the best that they could and they were making good effort, but they could have saved more homes by putting up a water curtain, which would have allowed them to save the exposure of houses. But they couldn't because they ran out of water in the Pacific Palisades. He highlighted that he didn't want to diminish the fact that this fire behavior was insane and it was the worst he's ever seen. We could have saved way more structures than we did if we had water. In addition to that water reservoir being empty in the Pacific Palisades, holding 117 million gallons of water, they tarped it when they never should have for environmental reasons and evaporation. But don't you think that evaporation should not supersede the need for helicopters to access the water and suck out water for fire suppression, for aerial help? That was out of the question because it was tarped when it was not meant to. I was also informed that the city, allegedly, did not consult with the fire department before they drained this reservoir. Let me read what he explained to me. He says that we are set up to run something called a master stream operations. This is where you're flowing upwards of 800 gallons a minute from a big water cannon on top of the rig. And in order to do that effectively, you have to be connected to a hydrant. It's highly effective. You can put out a ton of fire with it. Now, granted, this fire behavior was insane, and we were working to save every home we can. But in this instance, we could have saved more homes if we had more water, but no water in the Palisades. We had water in Malibu because those reservoirs were filled. It's basic stuff. We need water to put out fires. With water in Malibu, we made a difference and saved homes because we sit on a hydrant and protect the exposure. The reason we even lost homes in Malibu along the coast was because they were connected. It wasn't multiple structures. In theory, it was one big structure. But he also told me that what these people are saying, that no water system is able to operate and push out that much water, isn't incorrect. But they're conflating extinguishing the whole fire with that because that's not what they're trying to do. They're not trying to extinguish the whole fire. They're going to lose homes. They know that that's the reality. But the reality is also that they could have saved more if they had water in the Pacific Palisades. And that is the message that needs to get out. I mean, Malibu was also really bad, but at least they saved homes there. But then you go look at the streets of Palisades and you tell me there's nothing left. I also asked about climate change, and I was told that they're calling bullshit on climate change because the Native Americans called the Santa Ana winds the devil winds. These winds have been around for hundreds of years, and it's the main reason that these fires got so bad. So I don't know how you conflate the two. Also, these winds were predictable. We knew that they were coming, so why were we not better prepared in the days prior? I asked about rumored arson, and he said, I'll be honest, and I'll say what no one is willing to say. It's the freaking homeless. They had a Palisades fire in the exact same area 3 years ago caused by homeless, but no one wants to say it and everyone's afraid. More than half of the calls they respond to are fires caused by the ever-growing homeless population in LA. And they'll cut the fire department budget by $20 million, but they'll spend billions on the homeless. That does absolutely nothing. I asked about DEI. And the answer was, of course, we don't mind women in the fire service if they could do the job. That's all that matters. But then a wife in the background says, my husband, if he needs help, his coworkers need to be able to carry him out. I don't care who you are, but you shouldn't be getting regulations changed. And you need to carry my husband and anyone else who needs help out. Pretty reasonable stuff. I asked about controlled burns. They're not allowed to do that because of these insane environmental regulations that Karen Bass has prioritized. And I say Karen Bass because they're allowed to do fire operations in Santa Barbara, but not in Los Angeles County because of the environmental regulations. Because Karen Bass has prioritized these conservation activists over the betterment of her people. There was also beyond frustration about this multi-billion-dollar water bond that was passed in 2014 by California voters to build reservoirs. It was meant to store and capture water. They would have been able to put out so much more of the fire with more water. The harsh reality is that if they had access to this 117 million gallon reservoir, it would have made at least a 10% difference and they would have saved thousands of more homes. For perspective, 117 million gallons of water is equivalent to 29,000 water trucks. It is estimated that 12,000 structures have been lost in the Palisades. That water would have been just under 10,000 gallons of water per structure lost. Gavin has seen this play out in the 2018 and 2020 fires, and he's been warned numerous times by numerous people, both publicly and privately, to properly prepare, and he didn't. Anyone with common sense knows that the state needs to clear brush, allow controlled burns, increase water storage, and hire based on performance alone. But Gavin's refusal to implement these solutions just further highlights his incompetence and inability to effectively do this job. Because instead, we've seen Gavin give in to the woke mob, and he's doubled down on his proven dangerous and deadly policies. Gavin, you have failed the people of California. You are a poor leader. You take no accountability, and you're focused on promoting your own image. You're a professional liar. You were caught saying that you were on the phone with Biden when, oh wait, you weren't. You lied then, you lie now. The truth will always prevail, and you will be exposed, Gavin Newsom. It is time for the people of California to demand better. Your votes have had terrible consequences on people's lives, and this needs to stop. Here is the transcript of one of my interviews with a Los Angeles firefighter of 20 plus years of service.